call the meeting to order. Salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Bowe? Here. Mrs. Boyle? Mr. Farinella?
Here.
Mr. Giannakis?
Here.
Mrs. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Panisi?
Here.
Mr. Sesselberg?
Here.
Mr. Cassio?
Here.
Mr. Chapman?
Here. In accordance with the terms of the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting was posted in all school buildings, the administration building, Borough Clerk's office, police headquarters, public library, 4 newspapers, and tapped into on January 7th, 2021. Please be advised there is no smoking on school grounds inside or outside or any time. Please silence all electronic devices, and pursuant to District Policy 0167, each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes duration, and no participant may speak more than once on the same topic. At this moment, the board is going to go into executive session for about 10 or 15 minutes. Can I get a motion? To discuss personnel. Right. Can I get a motion? A second? Roll call.
Mr. Bowe?
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? We'll be back in about 10 minutes. Call the meeting back to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bowe?
Here.
Mrs. Boyle?
Here.
Mr. Farinella?
Here.
Mr. Giannakis? Mrs. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Panisi?
Here.
Mr. Sesselberg?
Here.
Mr. Cassio?
Here.
Mr. Chapman?
Here. For all the people at home, if you need to call in tonight, the telephone number is 908-210-5029. That number again, if you need to call, is 908-210-5029. Are there any agenda additions or deletions? Any comments from the public on proposed resolutions only? Seeing none, move on to approve the prior board minutes.
Second.
Can I get a motion? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bowe?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyle?
Yes.
Mr. Farinella?
Yes.
Mr. Giannakis?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Panisi?
Yes.
Mr. Sesselberg?
Yes.
Mr. Cassio?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes. Moving along to the superintendent's report. Dr. Leshak, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. This evening, the South Plainfield School District will continue to recognize the hard work of our amazing students. Mr. Cerullo will be introducing 3 former grant students, now South Plainfield Middle School students, as they present their winning submissions for an anti-drug PSA sponsored by the Partnership for a Drug-Free New Jersey. Mr. Cerullo?
Mr. Cerullo has just been announced. You have the floor, Mr. Cerullo.
Okay, good evening. I'd first like just to start by commending our guidance department, Mrs. Horn and Ms. Strayhorn. Were recognized and tap into on just the numerous events they bring to the table. And this is kind of just one of those examples of how they brought it to our students. The Partnership for a Drug-Free New Jersey sponsors a contest every year for middle-aged students to write, direct, edit, and produce a public service announcement. They then submit it. It's a 30-second submission in for the contest. And Ms. Strayhorn really facilitated this and bringing this to the students. She's not one just to send out an email or post something. She seeks out kids and she makes a connection. And our 3 students that stood out and will be played for you are Camila Chavez, Ella Colby, and Juliana Cesara. These are special students. They're students that are doers. And you'll see in the commercial that they submitted, that they made on their own under the guidance of Ms. Strayhorn. They submitted, and out of all the entries, they won. And I don't think it's often when we look back at a pandemic and people will ask them one day, what did you do during the pandemic? They went on to make their own commercial. The drug partnership reached out to them, and they then filmed one working with the partnership, and you'll see both versions. I can't tell you how proud I am of those Grant School sixth graders that are now middle school students. This is something that, you know, no one would have ever thought how great something like this could come out in such, you know, chaotic times. But great job, girls, and great job, Ms. Strayhorn and our guidance department. So thank you.
All right, and right now we'll play the initial video, and then we'll also play the final submission.
Drinking water is cool. Eating ice cream is cool. Wearing sunglasses is cool. Listening to music is cool. Hanging out with friends is cool. But it's not cool to drink or do drugs. Be a renegade. Say no to drugs and alcohol.
Drinking water is cool.
Eating ice cream is cool.
Wearing shades is cool.
Listening to music is cool.
Hanging out with friends is cool. But it's not cool to drink and do drugs.
Be a trendsetter. Say no to drugs and alcohol.
Greetings, my name is Jaretta Strayhorn, and I am the Student Assistance Counselor for Grant School. I would like to take a moment to offer my sincere congratulations to Camilla, Juliana, and Ella for winning the Partnership for Drug-Free New Jersey PSA contest. The girls worked tirelessly in an effort to encourage all young people to explore their options and to not make drugs their choice. It is imperative that each of you encourage each other to make choices that enhance your future, not diminish it. Remember, we are our brother's keeper.
Mr. Cerullo, do you know you're still there?
Hello? Hello?
Thank you very much, Dr.
I'd like to thank Mr. Cerullo, Mrs. Strayhorn, Ella, Juliana, and Camilla for their incredible work and all of the hard work of our students. So we're very proud of everything that our students do. I also wanted to let the public know that we have released our latest newsletter outlining some wonderful happenings in the district. Please take a look. My contribution this time features the work of the District Peace Committee. I'd like to thank the members of the South Plainfield Black Alliance who met with both Ms. Maleska and I to discuss some ideas and programs moving forward. The Peace Committee also met today, as we do each month. Today we were joined by a number of our district students from elementary through the middle school as they gave their perspective on lived experiences here in the South Plainfield District. These meetings are very enlightening and we are making progress in our Access and Equity initiative. Please visit our district website to see all that is happening in our Peace Committee. All Grant Middle School and High School students who are currently enrolled in in-person hybrid learning will be able to attend 5 days a week starting February 22nd, 2021. All students enrolling in the in-person instruction are able to come back 5 days a week beginning on March 1st. To remind parents and guardians, we continue to work to expand the offerings of the district. Beginning March 1st, 2021, all elementary students who wish to attend school for a full day will be able to attend beginning on March 1st. The first half of the day will be academic, followed by lunch, and then either a lesson on SEL, social emotional learning, or a help day, depending on the building schedule. This is not a mandatory program, and students who wish to attend the second half of the day will be welcome to do so online. Additionally, If you are a virtual student but would like to come to school for a scheduled SEL lesson on your cohort day, that will also be available to you. After discussion with administration, we are going to allow students at the secondary level who only want to attend on their cohort day to do so. You must, however, reach out to your building principal and let them know of your intentions. I also wanted to, if you did not pick up your phone, you did receive a phone call letting you know that tomorrow will be a fully virtual remote day based on the weather that we are predicting. So that's my report for tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Leshak, and great job to the girls on creating that commercial. That was really fantastic, and they're all moved up from Grant into the middle school now, and they did that last year, and it was really, really awesome. So great job, ladies. Moving along to curriculum and student activities. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bolt?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyle?
Yes.
Mr. Carinella?
Yes.
Mr. Giannakis?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Panisi? Yes. Mr. Sesselberg?
Yes.
Mr. Casio? Mr. Chapman?
Yes. Moving along to policy. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Discussion.
Mrs. Boyle?
Yes, I have a question on two policies. On 1648, under Appendix N, there's two different times for the pre-K, and it only lists the one.
Right now, we're in the middle of determining what we're going to do moving forward. We had said that we would revisit it again, so before we accept this next time, we will have all of the times solidified. Because at this point, we think we are going to be able to maybe make a change to our preschool program.
And you said make a change in the time, because there was an option for half day, either morning or afternoon.
Right, but we are going to take a look at what options we'll have in time in terms of the hours. So we're seeing if we can possibly offer more hours, more length.
Okay.
But you would still keep the two options for the time? Okay.
We're looking into what we're going to be able to do. Right now, it seems as though we're in that box that we've been offering right now because of transportation and other issues that are playing into it. But once we get the students back in school for that 5 days a week, we'll be able to take a closer look at preschool and see what the options are.
Okay, and my other question is on policy 7250. It's for naming school facilities. I understand that if somebody's in district for 20 years, and you could, or somebody that's been a board member for 20 years, could you explain where somebody from the town could write a letter requesting somebody being named after a facility other than the criteria that's already set?
Well, my understanding is that's really not changing. You had determined that that would be, as a board, you had determined that that would be the requirements, that you'd have to be serving the district for 20 years. So that's not changing. The changing was going to be the process on how you could, I guess, nominate somebody to have their name considered. So you would either have served the district for 20 years in some capacity, or have served the district in the past.
Now, I understand that, but just when you're reading the list of criteria where it said somebody from the community could write a letter, that doesn't change the length of time that somebody would...
No.
Okay, that's...
No. If you're going to write a letter from the public, you have to still write a letter where the person meets that criteria.
Okay, all right, thanks. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bolt?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyle?
Yes.
Mr. Carinella?
Yes.
Mr. Giannakis?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Panisi? Yes. Mr. Sesselberg?
Yes.
Mr. Casio?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes. Moving along to personnel. Can I get a motion?
Second.
Any roll call, I'm sorry. Any discussion, please?
Yes, discussion.
Mrs. Boyle?
Yes, I just want to congratulate Mr. Hamilton on the position that he'll receive. Also, on number 2, Lori Dress-Shamrock. She's been a teacher in this district for 25 years. She's amazing, wonderful. She's curriculum driven, she will be missed. So thank you, Mrs. Shadrach. Also, under number 11, reviewing the received paperwork, that I have not been given any evidence to support a change in the principal. Given the multitude of years in district and the present principal has acquired and has integrity and aspirations for the students, I'm sure that the present candidate will add a future vision, but the present principal also projects that vision. So I thank you and I would support that.
Any other discussion? Get a roll call, please.
Mr. Bowe?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyle?
Yeah, except for the one I said,
Mr. Marinello?
Yes on all of them.
Mr. Giannakis?
Yes, but staying on 11, 11, and 11, 12.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Panisi? Yes. Mr. Sesselberg?
Yes.
Mr. Cassio?
Yes, I have to abstain on 11, C, number 11, and also 13C, number 7. So,
Thank you. Mr. Chapman?
Yes. Moving along to finance. Any motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bowe?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyle?
Yes.
Mr. Marinello?
Yes.
Mr. Giannakis?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller? Mr. Panisi?
Yes.
Mr. Sesselberg?
Yes.
Mr. Cassio?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes. Before we move on to public comments, I'd like to make the following statement. At last week's COW meeting, the board was made aware of an online post by Mrs. Boyle that referenced a minor and allegedly disparaged her even if it did not identify her by name. Apparently, it was clear to all involved who she was referring to. I wish to stress in the strongest terms possible that the board does not condone this action. I can confidently say, on behalf of the board, that the goal of every board member is to put children first and ensure that the district provides the students, staff, and community with everything it needs to be successful in their educational endeavors, both when in the district and beyond. That said, board members must conduct themselves with the utmost integrity, hold themselves to a higher standard in the community, and refrain from making comments or referencing others in a disparaging way, particularly in a public forum such as social media. This holds true even more so when these comments involve a minor, whether or not that individual is a student in the district or not. It is disappointing that we've reached this point and the actions of a board member have distracted the board's mission. It also comes to my attention that the members of the community are expecting the board to take action or do something to address this. However, the board itself has no authority to take action in this or any other similar situation. We as a board, including the superintendent, may not legally remove a board member from the board or even discipline a board member. Only the School Ethics Commission or Commissioner of Education has the authority to do so. We can only state as individual board members when we do not agree or in any way continue this board member's actions and hope this never occurs again. I hope this addresses the concerns and questions that some of you may have. Thank you. And it is at this point in time, Mrs. Boyle asked if she could make a statement.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chapman. Last week at the COW meeting, a Facebook comment I wrote was brought up during the public comment portion of the meeting. I should have apologized at the last meeting, but as you can imagine, I was completely taken off guard with what was going on. I am making this statement to apologize for any misconceptions, negative reactions, or hurt feelings that were felt by Alexis and her family. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Boyle. Moving along, any public comments on any items?
I have online comments. I'm not sure if we have any in person.
We have one in person. Please state your name and address for the record.
Lisa Mans, 2341 Oxford Avenue. Firstly, I would like to not only acknowledge but extend my heartfelt and sincere sympathy to the young lady that bravely got up to speak in the absence of her parents alone about how she felt when made to believe a post on my page was referencing her in any way. As a mother of a child that has been harassed, intimidated, and bullied continually within this district until this very day through social media since May 9th, 2020. It truly breaks my heart to watch at this point. In fact, it truly hits home. At the previous BOE meeting, a post was discussed in which a board member was accused of making fun of a specific person. The initial start of this post statement it started from a statement from posting on one of the town pages that a resident posted about a flag on someone's property that they felt was inappropriate. That post gained over 400 comments before being deleted. A post created by myself on my own personal social media page was reacted to 29 times, with 9 of those being South Plainfield residents. 48 total comments, 24 were mine. 9 of the remaining were from South Plainfield residents. 15 were from non-residents. I have roughly 814 people on my friends list, of which roughly 100 might be from South Plainfield. And my page is private to my friends list, none of which are the specific parent or young lady. That said, to be fair, I would like to read the contents of that post aloud, which has not yet been done at this point. We are only privy to one particular comment that has been scathing headlines being force-fed to the public at this point to publicly shame a sitting board member with no facts to support the allegations. I quote, "So let me get this straight. There is a resident in town on a soapbox about a flag that they are so offended by because the word," and I'm going to quote after it has some symbols and then the K and then a quote, "is displayed. It's baffling to me how it's so offensive to this person and their family, seeing the TikToks post videos and public rants and language that come out of the same household. You know the saying, it starts at home. Honey, worry about you and yours. You got way bigger problems in this town than the flag you're so offended by." There were laughing emojis inserted by myself and 2 hashtags. Drinky drink, have another. Just to be clear, my words, my hashtags, something I created personally and that no one should take claim to. These hashtags have been used to many of my posts and many subjects, including but not limited to Bruce Springsteen, parties, my many personal posts, gatherings, and friends, etc. Debbie Boyle then commented, making her one of the 9 residents. No names in my post, no names in Debbie's post. Only assumptions from people outside of my friends list that claim to absolutely know that it was pertaining to a specific child. Let me also be clear that in no way does this have anything to do with school matters, yet it was allowed to take up an entire COW meeting last week, the volunteer time of board members, and the residents watching on for substantial school district-related matters. We have a board member verbally attacking another board member, strongly suggesting the public should resign, with no actual proof of allegations, only assumptions. The public performance worthy of an Academy Award was disgraceful and embarrassing to this district to watch as a resident, knowing that a lot of our children's disciplinary matters are left in the hands of the board to fairly and non-judgmentally vote upon. Are our children also judged this way, with no supporting facts, only emotions and personal feelings about them and their parents? Can the board be trusted to make fair, decisive decisions rationally? Unfortunately, I have also been the victim of a board member's rage at a parent meeting in the past. This same board member I contacted in reference to my child being called, and I'm going to quote, asshole, by a teacher in school in front of other children during an assembly. My child was in 8th grade. A grown adult teacher in this district admittedly called my child, and I'm going to quote it again, an asshole in front of all of her peers. This board member responded to me as such, quote, "Unfortunately, as an adult, we cannot make another adult apologize. She would have to do that on her own," end quote. Imagine that. No outrage in public. No request for resignation. No scathing headlines. Nothing. In fact, that teacher still is employed here in this very district. Let it also be noted, the superintendent, Ms. Leshak, had the same reply to me as a parent as this board member. Imagine that response from a superintendent when calling about your child in 8th grade being called an asshole to her face. Let it also be noted, I met with that teacher in person, after which she found it in her best interest to apologize, and even giving my child a brownie. How sweet. Which then brings me to the most recent correspondence where Ms. Leshak, our superintendent, sent several correspondences addressed to the board, with me as a parent copied, stating in her own words that I was being copied on it. It was not addressed to me directly in any way and contains personal information about my child. In this email, she admits to the fact that not only she had conversations about residents, but claims to only have listened to my comments of these residents without engaging. One would think she would have stated that she couldn't discuss or hear these conversations that are considered to be outside of school-related matters. To my knowledge, conversations is defined as a talk, especially an informal one, between two or more people in which news and ideas are exchanged. And I emphasize exchanged. I am only quoting the references that Ms. Leshak used multiple times in that now made public correspondence from her copying me as a parent with it addressed only to the board. I will gladly share with any tax-paying citizen here in South Plainfield, the public should be very pleased with the disgraceful and professional childlike responses from the superintendent to a parent that we are entrusting our children with. The behavior portrayed in her responses is nothing less than disgraceful, unprofessional, and concerning in a position such as hers in this district. The parent with the concerns of assumptions of her child being bullied by comments of a board member not containing any names should be more concerned with the content of the conversations that the superintendent so unprofessionally engaged in with me as a parent. Again, I will share this correspondence with anyone interested that is now made to be public by the actions of the superintendent addressing the board and copying me as a parent. The hypocrisy within this board and administration is a disgrace. This should be, in my opinion, a unified board for the greater good of all of the children in this district, not just protecting the ones that we are friends with while challenging the ones that question right from wrong or bring facts to light. I find that the interpersonal relationships and the obvious divide that publicly continues amongst the board members and administrators have clouded the facts, and loyalty has outweighed the implementation of their duties. If we as a community have now resorted to and allow the condemning, shaming, and publicly bashing a person solely on assumptions, then the question raised several times at the last COW meeting needs to really be addressed. At this point, what are we teaching our children here in South Plainfield? Is this truly about the children? How are we supposed to trust the administration and the South Plainfield Board of Education to make the best decisions for our children with all of the continued inappropriate behavior and violations? Which brings me to the fact that we have a current recently re-elected sitting board member with 2 pending ethics charges. This board member used their board-appointed position in a confidential executive meeting to obtain personal information about a child, my child, to then, in the words of Doug Chapman, the board president, gave me, and I quote, well-intended advice parent to parent.
Mrs. I will ask you not to comment on pending litigation right now. The board would not be able to comment on that anyway. So it really shouldn't be raised in this forum.
Okay.
That's all.
So it's not allowed to speak that it was never brought up into public, and the fact that we're paying for a public defender for him on our dime was never made public knowledge. We're not allowed to discuss that.
It's not that it's not public knowledge, it's that what you're raising is talking to the allegations of a complaint that's pending, so that's not a public issue.
I clarified that it was pending. I'm just presenting the fact that it was never publicly addressed, nor was the fees paid that are being paid by us, the taxpayers, publicly addressed. Is that fair?
Actually, they were publicly addressed. There was a conversation. I don't remember the exact board meeting when it was discussed in public. I don't remember the date, though.
It's funny because none of the public remembers that, but that's okay. And then there was also a meeting that I attended not long ago when a board member called a tax-paying resident, and I'm going to quote, an asshole. out loud in public rage because the resident got up and voiced their opinion. No scathing headlines by the tap, no force-fed BOE videos pushed out to the public. In fact, they uploaded an edited video sent in by the board member's brother. The same video that is posted on the SPBOE website, no transparency there. If you can't make a meeting in person, I suggest you go to the Observer website, where the unedited versions of the videos are uploaded. No public suggestions to resign either, I might add. Let it be noted, that board member did apologize after the fact.
Any other public comments on any items? We have any online? We're going to go to the online comments.
Yes, Ms. Sherry Glover.
Good evening, Ms. Glover.
You have the floor.
Good evening, everybody. Sherry Glover, 1324 Chancellor Court, South Plainfield. I was calling in again this evening regarding some comment I had made last month about our graduating seniors, the class of 2021. Last month when I was on the meeting, Dr. Leshak, I believe you told me that you were going to check with the high school administration, and sometime thereafter, I did speak with the high school administration to find out what the plan was for our students, in these last 5 months of school. And I haven't really gotten, I know that there were some things that I was told that are being planned. However, I haven't gotten, or I guess I should say the parents, us parents, haven't gotten any information regarding what that is. And I know Dr. Leshak, I had reached out to you as well after the meeting last month, asking you the same thing. And unfortunately, I had a death in the family, and I wasn't able to reach back to you after you called last week to find out what, where we were with the process. I think that it's my obligation as a parent to just, speak up for our students in the class of 2021, our parents, just to try to find out, what is going to happen. I think some parents said that last week they interpreted, which I didn't hear the meeting last Thursday evening, I missed that, I'm sorry about that, but they heard that there wasn't going to be a prom, but yet there was a fundraiser information put out saying the money that we should sell popcorn for a prom. So now I'm like, okay, are we having a prom? Are we not having a prom? Our kids are antsy. Us parents want to know, what is the district going to be doing? And I hope that, I'm not putting you on the spot right now, but, I know you called me last week to give me some information, and I'm hoping you could just give me some response to that.
And before you respond, Dr. Leshak, just if the board members who checked their email today, we received an email today from a parent expressing the same concerns, that they've heard absolutely nothing or have received no correspondence. So perhaps you could shed some light on that for us.
We did receive an email today, and I had received a couple of emails over the last couple of weeks from parents and students alike. Last year, when this pandemic hit, our class of 2020 at least got to be in school until March, so they had some experiences that they normally would be able to enjoy in their senior year. The class of 2021 has really been shortchanged in every way possible. So I have been working and trying to come up with wonderful ideas of what we can do, and working along with Mr. Friscolo, and he's been in contact with the senior advisors here at the high school, and we've come up with a number of events that are going to take place. And I actually hadn't had a chance to speak to the board about it, but I guess I will let them know tonight. So at this point, we are going to, as a board, consider the purchase of senior shirts as we did for the class of 2020 last year. We're also working on a sign campaign for each of our seniors, the way that they received them last year. We are working on a photo shoot so that we can have the class of 2021 on Joe's Field socially distanced with their masks and without their masks, and hopefully do a little video that we can share with our town. They are currently working on a senior scavenger hunt. They're just working out the logistics of how that will happen. We're talking about a senior breakfast and logistics of working on a senior breakfast here on our school property, as well as looking into what we can do. I'm not exactly sure if we will call it a prom. The issue with trying to find a venue at this point is because so many of the wedding ceremonies that they had planned during the year were postponed. It's difficult for us to find a venue that is still open and that would be able to take our class with a limited number of students who would be interested in attending. On Tuesday, there's going to be a meeting here at the high school with the senior advisors, the administration, as well as a number of class officers and any student who would like to attend, so that they could come up with a survey to find out how many students would be interested in attending something that would be a prom-like event, but would most likely happen here right in our school, either inside or outside. So we are working on the logistics of that. I did speak with the mayor, and along with them, I didn't let the board know this, and along with the council, have graciously offered us the brand new community pool, so that we could have a pool party and barbecue or luncheon for our class of 2021 as well. So that's what we have planned so far, and that is only the beginning. You will receive information on all of these events as parents, guardians, and the students as well in the next week or so.
Thank you, Dr. Leshak. Anything else, Mrs. Glover?
Yeah, one other thing. I think it's nice to have like those little senior signs on our lawns. If there was a fundraiser, thank you for that, Dr. Leshak, but if there was gonna be a fundraiser, like that's something we can like raise funds to help support these different projects that you have, you planned. We ran down, I wasn't expecting that. We ran down a list of about 7 or 8 items that you have planned, and I really, really appreciate that because, I've been talking with other parents, and I know that I've got at least 20 or 30 other parents that may be on the line, or, maybe that are also interested and involved and want to get involved in whatever we can do as parents to help support what is going to happen for our class. I mean, it's just, I can't thank you enough. I'm surprised. I wasn't expecting it. And I really appreciate your effort in trying to get some resolve to this for us and at least give us a little hope for something to look forward to in the coming months. And I know as a parent and a senior, you know what we're dealing with, because you're living it too. But just thank you for making sure that we have something in place.
Thank you, Mrs. Glover. Any other public comments? Yes, in the audience?
Yeah. Eileen, person online?
We're doing a in-person comment right now.
Sure. John Cragen. I'm the father of Alexis over here. So I'd like to quote some things. Again, I didn't prepare much, but I do have a quote that I'd like to share with everybody just to make sure we're all clear on the topic and the term of bullying. Bullying is the use of force, coercion, hurtful teasing, or threat to abuse, aggressively dominate, or intimidate. The behavior is often repeated and habitual. One essential prerequisite in this perception of an imbalance of physical or social power. This imbalance distinguishes bullying from conflict. Bullying is a subcategory of aggressive behavior characterized by the following 3 criteria: hostile intent, imbalance of power, and repetition over a period of time. Bullying is the activity of repeated aggressive behavior intended to hurt another individual physically, mentally, or emotionally. Now, I'm not here to say that Mrs. Boyle intimidated my daughter repeatedly, but she intimidated my daughter. She was involved in a post on social media by a parent who just stood before this program, creating a new issue for the board to determine situations that are now occurring. She put up a shade to deflect away from the comments that Ms. Boyle made. There are screenshots of the statements made, the emojis laughing, and all the comments that followed. Remember, there was 9 comments made by residents, and most of them were Mrs. Boyle's emojis. Although she didn't have to say much, she did reference my daughter's TikTok with a hashtag. So to say she's not referring to my daughter is a complete, utter lie. I'm not an ignorant person. I don't really want to be lied to in that aspect. On the same topic of bullying, it ranges from a one-to-one individual bullying, to a group bullying called mobbing, in which bullies may have more lieutenants who are willing to assist the primary bullying in their bullying activities. Now, there's underlying situations that have been occurring over the past couple of years between another parent in town and my ex-wife. And Mrs. Boyle so seems to be friends with that parent and likes to chime in on comments that are made on social media. And as a board member, I don't think that that's something she should do. She should keep her comments to herself. As there's many things I see in the town of South Plainfield on the many different websites, and I don't even comment. And I'm not a board member, because I don't think it would be right for me to comment and intimidate somebody else who may be bullied by another person in town. Because not everybody's posts are construed where they're meant figuratively. They take them and they abuse these people. And by laughing at a child who has done something in the past that may not have been the right decision, it's not her decision, it's not her call to make fun of her. It really is not. And as anybody that would have a child that would see go through this, you must feel my frustration. Because what goes on the internet bullying itself, you realize that there are many, many people out there right now. Children take their lives over things like this. This is serious. Bullying is a very serious event, especially when it's coming from a board member. And I'm really disappointed that the board cannot do anything about that. I feel sorry for the other board, for the person previously here before me, against other board members with ethic violations. I don't think that's right. How does somebody with an ethics violation sit on a board that governs children? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. But it's even more discerning when you have a board member bullying a child, teaming up with other parents who apparently have a dislike for someone, and they team up and there's that mob bullying online, which goes out of control because then you have people chiming in from different towns who don't even know the situations, but they have their 2 cents in. And I think that it's unfortunate that this occurred, but I really think there should be something more than an apology tonight. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to correct one thing that gentleman said. There are no ethics violations for board members. There's a pending complaint that has to work its way through the system. So nothing, it's allegations.
Right, if I'm not mistaken, I believe there were 6 allegations, 4 of them have been dismissed. Right, I think that's correct, but in any event, there are no, they're just allegations at this point.
Right. And that's what I was saying earlier, that we don't want to talk about the allegations because they're still allegations.
Right.
It's a pending issue.
Mr. Estrada, we have online public comments?
Yes, I have Eileen Griffin this time. Please state your name and address.
Yes, hi. My name is Christine Carbonaro, 1809 Stratford Avenue. I just want to thank Debbie Boyle for the apology. I do appreciate the apology. But unfortunately, it came too late. I want to thank all the board members who have been so supportive of myself and my child. Dr. Noreen Leshak is the best superintendent we have ever had in this town. Our board members, Keith Boat, Jim Giannakis, Cassio, all of them, they have been subject to the woman who was just speaking. They've been subject to the bullying, the posts. It's all public. Now, I cannot speak the name of the person that originally posted her rant on social media, but let me tell you something. There's about 30 posts from this woman against myself and my family. So let me tell you something. You are not the victim here. You are not the victim. The victim is Alexis Cragen. You're not the victim. As a matter of fact, after the meeting last week, I get a call the next day from the school saying that my daughter Jessica Cragen has received an HIV allegation against, from Lisa, for a comment that she posted on my page, which basically said nothing on social media is private.
Mrs. Carbonaro.
You're not the victim.
Excuse me, Mrs. Carbonaro.
Ms. Carbonaro, I just want to say that it is up to you, but generally the board doesn't discuss HIV or student matters like that are pending as well. So I will say it's up to you if you want to discuss that, but you know, we can't have any kind of dialogue or response. We really would prefer student matters are, you know, addressed to the superintendent.
That's all. You can continue on if you'd like to.
Yeah, you can continue your comment. I just wanted to make sure you're aware that, you know, we typically don't discuss student matters like that in public that are pending.
I can understand that. But she's the one putting it out there. So when you put it out there, then it's public. And last week, I never mentioned this person's name. And I privately sent you the screenshots of what she said and what Debbie said. And again, I thank Debbie for apologizing, because it says a lot to get up in public and apologize for something that you did wrong. So I think I'm basically done. I'm not really even sure what to say anymore. I do have a petition out there right now that has about 385 signatures asking for Debbie Boyle's removal from the Board of Education. 380 signatures. These are from parents, students. I have received so many messages, texts, and I'm going to finish with this post. My name was disparaged on the TAP article. I didn't ask for the TAP article to be published. I didn't ask for any of this. My daughter didn't ask for any of this. But this is the best comment I've ever heard on social media from a parent. I read the post when they were originally posted, before it blew up. And as I was reading through, I was surprised at the comments being made, because she, Debbie Boyle, has a seat on the Board of Education. She comments on most, if not all, of the posts that are associated with this ongoing situation. It is one thing to comment and be on social media, but in my opinion, if you are in a position like this, if you are in a position like she is, you shouldn't take part in this kind of stuff, especially when it involves kids. I am pretty sure the other side of this wouldn't want somebody messing with their children. I think it is safe to say that about any parent though. So don't ever think that your child is immune to this bullying from a parent in South Plainfield and from this Board of Education member. Thank you very much and have a good night.
Any other public comments?
You have Shelby?
We're going to go with an in-person comment first.
First.
Yep.
Good evening, Michael Maroney, 1225 Walnut Street. And I'd like to discuss for a moment the priorities of our football team within our town. As you well know, in the past 2 years, the team has done poorly. The boys have played very hard. My son's part of that football team. My oldest son was part of one of the very better football teams in the last 5-6 years. I want to know why, with the systems in place through the NJSIAA, that we allowed the schedule that we have against perennial top teams in the state. A team of Somerville who beat us by close to 40 points. Who was 30th, 20th, 16th, 21st, 20th in the state of New Jersey. We don't belong playing these teams like this. And there are systems in place for objections to be placed about scheduling. I'd like to know if anything is going to be done about that. If the schedule remains as it is for a number of years, that would be a program killer. We have very, very few kids trying out for these teams right now. Making it worse will only make it exacerbate even further. Secondly, I become aware that we have purchased uniforms back within the last 3 to 5 years, home and away. With that being said, I'd like to know why does my son, including other children on that football team, show up to a football game looking as they do? Torn uniforms, numbers that don't have the same type font, striping that doesn't match, numbers, you don't have matching numbers for home and away jerseys. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment as a father, it's an embarrassment as a player, and it should be an embarrassment for the town. They represent us. When they take that field in Somerville, in Summit, this year is a Group 4 school in Colonia, don't know why we're playing them. It's an embarrassment. I'd like to know why we don't have suitable uniforms for our children. Last week. And a final statement. I just find it very disconcerting that the pride that players should have has been diminished as they are forced to wear ill-fitting, torn, non-matching uniforms. We as a town should strive to do better for our football team. Perhaps it would be a good idea to treat them with the same respect as our wrestling program, because it wouldn't be allowed by the parents nor by this town for the wrestling program who gets new singlets, multiple new singlets, every single season. Thank you very much.
Mr. Estrada, you have an online. I think you said Ms. Jaffe.
Yes, Ms. Jaffe.
Hi, good evening. It's Diana Jaffe, President of the South Plainfield Education Association and a teacher here in South Plainfield. Before I say anything, I just wanted to suggest that when speakers are speaking at the podium, if they could face the audience, we would be able to hear them. Otherwise, it's that their voices are echoing, like bouncing off of me. Nobody online can really hear the speakers. So it's just something that I noticed that everybody's saying. But to get back to my situation here, by now you've made your decision regarding the position of high school principal. So I know that I'm pretty much spitting in the wind, but I still feel the strong need to comment on it. I've been a teacher in this great school district, which has, by the way, always been a great school district, since 1977. I spent 2 years at Kennedy School and Riley School, 42 years in the high school. I have worked closely with about 10 different principals, 19 different superintendents, not only as a teacher, but as an association rep. And I believe those experiences have given me more insight, perspective, and expertise in assessing what makes a good principal or superintendent or a leader of educators. In looking back at those educational leaders with whom I've worked, the one principal who I am most in awe of was a man by the name of Vic Costello. I don't think any of you, except for P.L. Busey, know who he is, but you should. He was the principal of Kennedy School, and he stood out to me because he was a true teacher of teachers. He respected us, he taught us how to be better teachers, by example, not by threats, partial valuations, salary increment denials, caps, improvement plans, etc. But by patience, personal interaction, knowledge, and strength of character. I haven't seen that quality in administrators in a long time, until Bob Deal came to our school. He has brought success in every aspect. Before COVID, he brought back positive student management, improvement in attendance rates, improvement in tardy issues, student and teacher accountability, respect, and an overall boost in morale for everyone in the high school. And he did it in a few months after walking in the door. COVID hit, and he continued on with the support of the assistant principals and our staff. I know, because the superintendent has told me, that we're one of the most successful districts in the state in making lemonade out of lemons. Bob Deal has been a major part of the success. Ask any high school teacher, or any Roosevelt school teacher for that matter. To date, no one has. No one has asked us, no one has brought us to the table no one seems to care what the teachers who work with God every day think. When we move to support her, you chose to cast that as a negative. So on behalf of the staff at South Plainfield and for all that it's worth, that's what we think. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Jaffe. Any other public comments? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Alexis Cragen. I live at 1809 Stratford Avenue. I know you guys said you can't do anything about this, but I really don't think you guys should just let this brush off your shoulder, and I appreciate the apology, but it is too late. I'm already hurt by that message, and you had a chance to apologize to me last time, but I did write a speech because I didn't know you guys were going to say this, and I do want to say it. So I want to thank all of the Board of Education members who reached out and have been super helpful. I also want to thank the 300+ people who signed a petition to remove Debbie Boyle from her position. And thank you to everyone who reached out and helped me and my family by showing your love and everything that's going on right now. It still disgusts me and hundreds of others in town by what happened online a few weeks ago. Just to clarify, Boyle stated that the TikTok was posted before that, and in that, she means the Facebook post, which is a lie. My post was on October 12th, showing this tattoo, which she is now mocking me over, which, yet again, I know you did apologize, but I can't take the apology. It pains me to see you all letting her sit on that stage and tell me, but I didn't say your name, and refuse to apologize. I'm sorry that she already apologized. But, and if I stand corrected, this is not the first time this woman has bullied someone from the school district. People have actually came to me and told me their stories. One of these being a son of someone who was getting abused by his stepfather, who was a teacher in town, and Boyle did not want this man to get fired, so she bullied his son. This guy who was a teacher in town is now in jail, by the way. How are you going to let this woman sit up there and continue to be in charge of the school district while she's bullying?
Ms. Cragen, the one thing, as I've been saying to everybody, if we're talking about allegations,
I know.
we don't want to bring those up.
I know, but it is.
I understand where you're coming from.
I understand it's over.
But it's an allegation, and so it's not to be discussed.
How are you going to let this woman sit up there and continue to be in charge of the school district while she's bullying the kids who are going through it and went through it? I hope you guys do everything you can in your power to make a change to these Board of Education positions. There should not be any opportunity for this to happen again, and she's already done it more than once. Who knows if she will do it again? To anyone's kid. To anyone's kid. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any items? Yes, ma'am?
My name is Jessica Cragen. I reside at 1809 Stratford Avenue. In regards to the statement which Mrs. Manns just made about what took place at last week's meeting, I find it absolutely disheartening that you can discount what happened and label a young girl standing up for herself an attempt to publicly shame a board member. I also find it hypocritical for the statement being used consistently is there was no name mentioned. This still does not make it okay. My sister standing up for herself was no attempt to publicly shame or bully a board member. Bullying is something that shouldn't be taken lightly, and it is clear that some take it less seriously than others. I have had 6 HIB violations filed against me by this family. It is habitual, and the consistent HIB violations filed against me have been made by a grown adult. May I mention the most recent HIB violation filed against me, I used no name in my statement. Isn't that crazy? I didn't use a name, so does that just make it okay? So you can just go on social media and just talk bad about anyone. And if you don't use a name, it's okay, it's not bullying, no one gets in trouble. Is that okay? I don't think it's okay, so I hope every single person on the Board of Education knows that that is not okay, and I hope everyone in the audience knows that is not okay. I really do. I'm sorry. I lost my place. These hip violations are filed against me as an attack. And you know this, and you may be laughing at me right now, but that just shows.
I just want to say, you have to direct your comments to the board president, number one. And number two,
Oh, I'm not using my name, so it's just to everyone here.
No, but you were talking to the audience just now, so if you could direct your comments to the board.
Okay.
And also,
okay.
just so you know, once again, as I told your mother, if we're talking about an HIV allegation, we should keep it,
I know.
you know, private.
When does this come to an end? When does it come to an end? When a child gets hurt? I'm a strong young woman. This could be any one of your children. What if the next child is not strong as I or my sister? When a child is targeted by an adult, that should never be taken lightly. I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't think anything is going to happen. If nothing happens, that truly shows what the Board of Education represents. Yeah.
Thank you. In the back.
Georgianne Cochran, 1840 Agony Street in South Plainfield. I came here today because I feel that what's going on really has to do with two families and not anything else. People have to realize that what they put on social media, everyone sees, and if you don't want anyone's comment, you shouldn't put it there. I have known Debbie, and I know quite a few of you on the board that I am friends with. I have worked with Debbie on many occasions in many different ways. I have never seen Debbie do anything that would hurt a child in this town. If anything, she goes above board to do what she needs to do to help. I feel like this is not anything that should have been brought to the board. If the board has no recourse to do anything, and you really shouldn't, this should be between these people, and if they want to go to file a complaint, they'll hear the same thing I heard probably about 6 years ago when they went after my daughter. And I was told by an attorney that because my daughter's name was not mentioned, therefore, I could not file a report. So I'm just letting them know ahead of time that it doesn't really matter what is said. If you don't want anyone to make a remark about it, then you shouldn't put it in writing. And I thank you very much for listening to me. I also want to say I was a little disappointed in you, Mr. Giannakis, because of coming out against another board member. But I have to agree with you with the fact that there is freedom of speech in this country.
Thank you, Mrs. Cochran. Yes?
Zoe Lambert, 1131 Tompkins Avenue. All I can say is wow, because my heart aches to a point where I can't even explain the pain I feel inside for this family, because everyone is trying to get up here and discount what is taking place. It is not just two families that need to hash it out together. That is not what it is anymore, because somebody else commented on it that shouldn't have. somebody that is in a position of power. And just because we use no names doesn't mean that it's okay. I feel terrible. I don't know what to say. All I wanted to come up here and ask is, if there's nothing going to be done by the board, I really wish to know, do you have any advice for what else we may do if we can take it into our own hands? Because I feel like this is a failure of the town if we aren't able to do anything in this situation.
Well, the board has no authority to do anything, as we discussed earlier, and I do not believe that we're in the position to advise on what should be done. Check with the attorney on that.
Do you know who is? Do you know who is in a position, perhaps?
I mean, there are resources online that you could go to and do your own research on that. And if you have any other questions, you should reach out to the superintendent and have a conversation offline. But the board itself cannot give advice on a matter like that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other online public comments?
Yes, we have Elise Bedman.
Okay.
Elise, you have the floor. Just please state your name and address. There you go, Elise. Please state your name and address. No, they keep muting, so I'm going to move you back to the attendee pool. Disable talking for now. Now Sue McAndrews. Ms. McAndrews, please state your name and address.
My name is Susan McAndrews. I'm at 701 Shirley Parkway, Piscataway. I'm also a faculty member of the South Plainfield High School and treasurer of the South Plainfield Education Association. I would just like to say that I've been in education for a very long time, and Bob Deal is probably one of the best administrators I have ever had the privilege to work with. Bob is honest, Bob is fair. Bob turned our high school around in a short 4 months. When we came back from break after Christmas last year, everybody said, geez, it's still going to be going the way it's been going, because it really seemed like it was too good, because he turned around attendance, tardy, and student accountability. Students took ownership, and they understand that Bob expected a higher bar for them. Our staff is outraged that he was not recommended to continue his position at South Plainfield High School. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other in-person comments? Any other online comments?
Yes, some additional online comments. A. Gonzalez. A. Gonzalez, you have the floor. Please state your name and address.
Hi, Anna Gonzalez, 1146 Clinton Terrace, South Plainfield, New Jersey. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I just wanted, I wasn't intending to call, but I did want to call when I heard the lady prior to Mr. Andrews speak. I would really like the board to listen. I know many of you, my children play sports in town. My daughter was on a cheer team. She's currently a senior at the high school. I think what you're seeing tonight, unfortunately, is not a problem that is just one family. And that's where the thinking is going wrong. It's one family that happens to have become very vocal about it, but it's not one family. And there is an underlying systemic problem in South Plainfield as a town and in South Plainfield as a school. And when that other mother got up and said, you know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, she's absolutely right. The bullies are created by many of the parents in this town. And many of us who are not part of the cliques, who don't know the right people, are the ones who have to experience this type of behavior, as I've had to experience it with my children as well at school. While we do have one of the best boards that we've had in a long time, and you guys are doing an amazing job with virtual learning and all of those things, it's falling down in other places, and other things are not falling into place. I'm wondering if you guys are aware that you have a whole entire Instagram page where students are talking about what is being done to them and the experiences that they are having racially and bullying by teachers to students, by students to students, by parents to students. And I know in my own experience, I had to push very hard to get a hit put against a student who told my son to kill himself. And I'm wondering, how does a parent get to press 6 hits against one child so easily? But if you could take one thing from what I'm trying to say here tonight, I'm trying to be very fair to both sides. And while I think you guys are doing a great job in some aspects, you have a powder keg that's getting filled every day with dropping the ball on kids who are being bullied, dropping the ball when a teacher says something to a student and they're not being held accountable. And so as you teach the kids, that trickles down. So if a parent who has a child who's a bully is not put in their place with that child, so then they think that's okay, and that becomes normal, and that continues to happen. And I think as a board, and I know Mr. Giannakis, and I thank you for what you said last week. You are absolutely right. Don't think that whatever you said was not wrong. Against Ms. Boyle. Ms. Boyle, I hope you choose your words wisely next time and you think about the students. But I just watched a parent victim shame someone for 3 minutes in her statement tonight to the board. I heard an unapology from the board member who apologized to the student. We have to do better. We have to do better as a school system. I was a teacher at the high school, so I'm speaking from experience when I know I've heard teachers say things to students that were uncalled for, inappropriate, and racially motivated, and nothing was done. And I'm not saying that all the teachers are that way, but it is happening more and more and more because it is not being properly addressed. And the students are not being held accountable to that behavior. And it's a shame if we had a principal who is actually starting to do that, and now we don't, and we have to start all over. I would say the key here is consistency and holding up the bar that you guys set up. If you're holding up this bar and you want everybody to reach it, but you keep pulling the bar away because you don't want anybody to touch it, that's a problem. You have to go after this bullying. Stop the assemblies on bullying and actually address the bullying problem. Stop the assemblies on, race and race words and this and that, and have culturally responsive teaching. Talk to your teachers. I had a teacher, my daughter said she was having a quinceañera. He said, "You're in America, have a sweet 16. That's a racially powerful comment. And I think that these are problems that are being swept under the rug, and that's where your issue lies, and that's why you see what you're seeing here tonight, and everybody's seeing what's happening tonight with this family, is because these issues continue to get swept. So I would ask going forward as a board, please come together and come up with a plan to properly address these issues that are growing within every single school in this district and in this town. When I moved here from Brooklyn, New York, I thought I had found a gem, but every day I'm finding out more and more that I might want to move. And that's a shame because it is a great town and there are some great people in this town that I've become friends with over the years. So I implore the board to have a real serious sit-down conversation as to what is really going on in your school with your students, how they're being treated, how teachers are being treated, and how it's being addressed, because from many of the parents, you have 300 and something signatures that the Cragans have been able to muster up. There's a group of parents who are really dealing with some hard issues in these schools, and we're feeling like it's not addressed. A committee could be created, a council or something. You guys have got to do something better to address these issues. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. I just want to give a quick, response that I feel as though that any bullying or harassment issue that's brought to the attention of the administration is handled appropriately, and if it does get to the board level, this board does not tolerate that. So, to insinuate otherwise, I think would be a mistake. There's always growth and opportunities to improve our situations. We cannot monitor Instagram and Facebook, but when things are brought to this board, things are taken seriously, and when they're brought to the administration, they're taken very seriously as well. So, thank you for your comment. Any further online comments?
Yes, I have Ms. Eileen Griffin. Ms. Eileen Griffin, you have the floor. Please state your name and address.
Christine Carbonaro, 1809 Stratford Avenue.
Ms. Carbonara, tonight we're going to have to adhere to the policy of one time on one topic, so if you have a different...
I just wanted to say one thing about Mr. Deal, because I didn't know there was a problem with Mr. Deal. Mr. Deal is the best principal we've ever had in South Plainfield High School. And I implore you to keep him in South Plainfield High School. And thank you, Anna. I really appreciate you. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you. Any other online comments?
Yes, I have Gabrielle Petrillo. Gabrielle.
Hello everyone, my name is Gabrielle Petrillo. I reside at 143 Montrose Avenue. I first want to start off by just stating a position and why I feel that I should be speaking on the matter of Mr. Deal. I am the student body president at South Plainfield High School, and I am now a senior, which means that I was also in our elementary schools at the time that Mr. Deal was principal of our school. I went to Roosevelt School. I've known Mr. Deal since I was about 5 years old, and I can honestly say that Mr. Deal is the best fit for president at South Plainfield High School, or for principal at South Plainfield High School, sorry. So far, in all of my years in the South Plainfield education system, he is the only principal who has been able to actively recognize me by name. And I feel like that says a lot about him as a principal, that he takes time to learn about his students and engage his students and to actively participate with them. He also recommended me for Student of the Month, as well as provided many opportunities for me and a lot of my fellow classmates to further explore our opportunities at South Plainfield High School. I know that I previously talked to a couple of my friends about this as well, and it's actually so upsetting to us that a couple of us were very upset when we heard the news about what was happening. So I just want to ask you, as a senior at South Plainfield High School, I'm asking you to please reconsider this option. Mr. Deal is honestly one of the best principals that I have ever had, and it would be such a shame for the other classes behind me to not get to experience the same experience that I have with Mr. Deal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other online comments?
I have Heidi Ely. Heidi Ely, please state your name and address.
My name is Heidi Lay, and I'm at 431 Harvard Avenue. And I feel the need to speak about Mr. Deal as well. I have had a unique experience because I have served as a substitute teacher under him. I've served as PTO president under him. And I've also been a parent to a child in his school when he was at Roosevelt. He is hands down the best principal I've ever worked with, I've ever experienced with my child, and I'm also the daughter of an administrator. So I know what a good principal looks like, and I am just devastated that the public's comments weren't taken into account as far as keeping Mr. Deal at the high school, because he is an amazing administrator. He supports his staff, he supports his parents, and most importantly, he supports the students, and that's exactly the kind of administrator we need at the high school level. And I just felt the need to say that because I think it's a real shame if we're going to allow him to be leaving the high school. I think it's a shame, and I think it's a disservice to our children and their future. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Any other online?
No additional online comments at this time.
Any other public additional comments in person?
I just have a question. You said,
We're going to have to, Ms. Creighton, we're going to be adhering to the one time on one topic tonight. So if it's about something other than you've already spoken, you're welcome to come up.
she's asking a question.
No, this is not the same topic.
All right, seeing nothing further, we're going to move along to board member comments. Any board member comments? Mr. Sesselberg.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chapman. First, I wanted to congratulate the sixth graders now in seventh grade for the great job they did on the PSA with the support of the principal and the guidance department, and seeing the creative decisions that enhanced the project from the rough idea up to the final project was very inspiring, and I hope it is for the rest of the students. To Tom Wiggins and his crew, keep up the good work with the upcoming snowstorm. Everything you've been doing in the district, both inside and outside the buildings, has been wonderful. I also wanted to give kudos to the athletic department for getting that huddle system in at the high school and the middle school so that the basketball games and other events can be held and seen by individuals at home. But hopefully now we can allow the parents and other audience members within restrictions to watch sporting events live. And I hope that the governor expands that so that more people can come in and see our great athletes and events. And if I can read the rest. And it's good to hear that there are a list of suggestions to enhance the senior year memories of the class of 2021. And I know that only covers some of it. There's some things going on in the arts also. So I commend the administration not only for what they're doing to keep all the staff and the students active in the high school, in all the schools during this pandemic season, but also to see that they're trying to make some type of normalcy to the student life. Thank you.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to just offer deepest thoughts and prayers to the Teller family. I'd also like to thank Pat Cirillo, Strayhorn, Juliana, Camilla, and Ella for their wonderful public service announcement. It really was amazing what they did, how they took it, as Mr. Sesselberg said, from start to finish. Kudos to them, they did a great job. Also, congratulations to Lori on her retirement. I wish her good health and much enjoyment in the future, and thank her for all she's done throughout the years for our students. In addition, New Jersey School Boards has issued their 4th special report on how the coronavirus is changing education in New Jersey. It's called Eye on the Future as Districts Monitor Student Mental Health. New Jersey School Boards Association, over the course of several months, studied the psychological impact the virus has had on school-age children. The results, as well as the resources and ideas some districts have implemented, are all detailed in the report found on their website. If you haven't read it yet, it is worth taking a look. The report also states that to relieve pressure on students and school leaders, consideration should be given to postponing achievement tests to allow schools to focus their time and resources on addressing the public health crisis. Also, the state DOE should be working on a recovery plan to help students who may need extra academic assistance. And everyone, please remember to stay safe and remember to be kind to one another.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Mr. Giannakis?
Yeah, I would just like to say thank you to Mr. Deal for the time that he's done at the high school, and apparently many people have been very happy with him. And I'd also like to say congratulations to Mr. Foscolo on his appointment as the new high school principal, and I wish him nothing but the best, and I'm sure he'll do very well there. And congratulations on our middle school appointment as well. It's permanent. I know you've been there for a while, and congratulations on that appointment as well. Thank you.
Mrs. Boyle?
Yes, I want to say thoughts and prayers to Donna Teller and her family. Donna is an employee in the school district. It's so very sad, the devastation of this virus that's taking effect on our families in town. Also to Pat DeSantis, thoughts and prayers. We pray that Nick gets stronger and is able to come home. Joe Blando, congratulations on being named Citizen Teacher of the Year from the VFW. Thank you to Mr. Cerula. Black History Month recognizes and appreciates the history of Black Americans and the countless achievements and contributions to New Jersey and the United States. We all must continue to commit towards the fight for equality and justice. Congratulations to the Patriots Pen Essay Contest winners. Congratulations to the Rotary Club Students of the Month, Alyssa Moffitt and Lee Mann. Happy Lunar New Year. It's the year of the ox. And next Thursday, the Mayor's Wellness Committee of the borough will present a mental and emotional event program at 7 o'clock. It'll be on WebEx. It'll be a 20-minute presentation by a doctor, and there'll be a 10-minute Q&A. So please be able to tune into that. And with that, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Boyle. Any other board member comments? Mr. Passio?
We've been here, what, about an hour and a half now? We spent the last 2 weeks talking about social media posts, attacking children, not apologizing, apologizing, saying I didn't say that, I might have said that. You know, what I haven't heard is when the hell are we getting these kids back in school next week? Why are we not getting our teachers vaccinated? We're trying to get them vaccinated. You know, our focus in this distraction is an embarrassment in this town. These social posts and people feeling that they have the right to berate people and embarrass people on social media. Social media, as I understand it, is to promote family gatherings, birthday parties, special events, things of that nature. And it's gone beyond that. And it's happening all over. And it's sad, it really is. And I hope that we can get beyond that and stop this childish behavior of attacking people, okay, and doing what we're elected to do up here, and take care of the district, and these children, and the taxpayers, and the teachers, and the staff. I would really hope we can get to that point really soon, okay? Because this is a year now with this pandemic, and I'd like these kids to be back in school with some normalcy soon. So I implore everybody, let's get along, and let's do what we can to help get these kids back in school. Mr. Foscola, congratulations. Mr. Whalen, congratulations. I could not vote for you, Mr. Foscola. I would if I could. Mr. Whalen, I voted for you. You guys are going to do a hell of a job. Thank you.
Mr. Farinelli?
Yeah, I just want to take a moment here. I've heard a lot of negative comments over the past 2 weeks. I'm very proud to have lived in South Plainfield since 1973. I went through the schools here. I went through South Plainfield High School. Gave me a great start. I spent many years in the chairs that the two gentlemen who are appointed tonight as our leaders in our schools are now taking on. We put our care and our trust in the recommendation of our superintendent of schools. We can't unring the bells that have happened, that have led to the infighting and the disparagement of good people, because you're all good people. We all need to take a good, hard look at ourselves in the mirror and understand that our words do hurt. We can't unring those bells, and we can make change if we truly want and believe that. It won't happen if we continue to hurt each other by trying to tear each other apart. We are a smart and a very capable community school district, and you're all very good people. I hope tonight that we can look at ourselves and say we can do better, because we are that good. And there's nothing here to suggest that we have anything but thanks and praise. I wasn't going to say a word about the high school principal who's here right now. The man gets up every day, he does his job, and he works hard to bring the best that he can to every single person who enters the doors of this school. It doesn't mean he's not a great person. There's a process that led to a decision, a recommendation, that a board has a choice to say yes or no to. That's it. We don't go around the superintendent, we hire the superintendent to run this school. I hope that as events emerge, and there will always be conflict, but we have a superintendent, a leader, who channels that information, directs conflict to people who can help resolve it in civil and responsible ways. And I think it's important that we consider that as we don't air our grievances and continue to hurt each other. We can do better than that. And congratulations to the new principals. Good luck to you. And I know that you're going to take us to Missouri because you have the skills that are necessary to get us there. And thank you for listening, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Carnell. Any other board member comments? Okay, I'd like to, seeing none, I'd like to add a couple of comments of my own. First of all, I want to thank all the participants who participated tonight. That is part of the process, whether we agree with what was said or disagree with what was said. The whole process is for people to be heard, and that's, and that's what we go through up here. And that's what we try to, to accomplish. We want to hear what everybody has to say, and everybody's not going to agree with everybody on everything that goes on. When I got on this board, when I first decided to run for the Board of Education for my first term, I wanted to get on the board because I wanted to help try to be a solution to a problem that my family experienced. And I was taught these words a long time ago. It's 10 two-letter words, and I try to live my life according to this. And I thought tonight would be a good night. Maybe I can share them, and maybe somebody else can adopt them as well. So I got on the board because I wanted to make a change, and the saying is, if it is to be, it is up to me. I'm not here to, expect other people to make the changes for me. And it bothers me when I do hear people criticize other people and sit out in public and be very critical rather than be part of the solution. So I'd like to urge everybody moving forward to try to be part of the solution rather than be a problem maker. And that's something that's very, very important to me. And I think it's a good takeaway. And the gentleman who taught me that, God rest his soul, was Sidney Friedman, a man, a legend in my industry. And again, if it is to be, it is up to me. And I think that we can, we can go far if we use that phrase. I want to congratulate Mr. Whale and Mr. Foscola. Looking forward to you two leading our school forward and continuing on in progress and continuing to make our great students better and, from good to great, and, great to continue on and keep on building. We never reach the horizon. The horizon is something out there, and the next time that you get to it, there's another horizon further out. So, I want to let you know that we're excited to have both of you in those positions, and we anticipate great things, and we're going to be watching, that's for sure. I want to congratulate Mr. Hamilton on becoming the head football coach. That's a big job. I know Mr. Hamilton's got a good resume. He comes from a good program, and he's going to do great things for the football program. I want to congratulate Lori Chabrock on her retirement. Lori's a great woman and a very good teacher, and the district is going to miss her. I do understand why she's retiring. We want to thank you and let you know that we're going to miss you. And I want to go on and just say that the seniors this year are really getting ripped off. And I mean, here we are, we're in the middle of February and senior year, and nothing noteworthy has happened for them. So what I want to do is I want to implore everybody that can to, let's ramp it up here. Let's let them go out with a bang, a big bang, not, haven't had anything to this point here. Listen, it's been hard, I understand it. Let's see what we can do to suck it up and to rally the troops and at least make the closing to their senior year something that they're never going to forget. They're never going to forget it because of the pandemic, but let's give them a good thing to remember it by and see if we can do something fantastic for them going into the end of the year. So, with that in mind, I would like to call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Everybody in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Meeting adjourned.